We got a 23-19. We got a 23-19. Get it? Because it's the 19th episode of the 23rd season. Monsters, Inc. No? Well, hopefully my writing for my final papers is better than my script writing. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Michaela Brandt. Pop quiz. Who was the first guest host this season? See, we told you there would be a quiz. You're watching LaSalle's TV home for Explorers Athletics SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. You're never going to believe this, but we're going to catch you up on all of the sports that happened this week.
And later, baseball's Connor Coulihan takes us inside baseball's unbelievable success this season.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Senior Daniel Dometer was named the ACWPC All-American Honorable Mention on Thursday. The CWPA announced Dometer was the driving force on offense yet again for the Explorers, leading the team in goals, assists, and points after their solid 2020-21 season, including wins against Iona twice and a first-round playoff victory against George Washington. This is his second consecutive All-American Honorable Mention.
Number 2. LaSalle Women's Water Polo was recognized twice by the MAAC on Thursday as senior Madison Martinez and freshman Hannah Warren won weekly awards. Martinez earned Offensive Player of the Week, the first of her career, while Warren claimed her second Rookie of the Week honor this season. Martinez led the offensive charge as the Explorers picked up 2 wins on Senior Day last weekend. Across the pair of games, she tallied 5 goals and 11 assists. In the second game against the Saints, Martinez tied the program record with 7 assists. Warren continued her strong debut campaign with a goal, 4 assists, and 2 steals on Sunday. She notably had a hand in 4 of the goals against Iona, scoring once and assisting 3.
The LaSalle University's men's tennis team will take on number 6 seed Fordham in the opening round of the 2021 Atlantic 10 Championship. It was announced by the league on Tuesday. The Rams are 5-4 on the year and the most recently defeated Queens College, 7-0, in the regular season finale. LaSalle and Fordham face one another in the regular season, with the Rams taking 6-1 decision in the Bronx, New York on April 10th. The winner of the match on Thursday will take on 3rd seed Richmond in the quarterfinals on Friday, April 30th.
So we have a lot of water polo to talk about.
Oh, for sure.
We always do. You know, both water polo teams are doing great. Daniel Demoter is a name that we've talked a lot about on SportsLine. He definitely has been a dominant force, and he definitely does deserve this honorable mention in the All-American.
I was going to say, he's a dominator.
Yeah.
He really has been showing out this season and last season. Unfortunately, their season was cut pretty short, but I'm glad that he's finally, he's getting that honorable mention again for the second year in a row. And speaking on just water polo in general, the women's water polo team just celebrated their senior day. It was awesome. They did really well. They beat both Iona and Siena that day. I thought it was a great thing to watch.
It's incredible because women's water polo is one of those teams this season where it seems like we're always talking about how well they do. Even if they don't come away with a win, we always hear Madison Martinez, Hannah Warren. We hear the same names, and even when they don't win, they put in great performances. And it's just so amazing to see that their team has been so consistent and that they've been able to really pull it together no matter what opposition they're facing.
They're also ranked, I believe, 24th or 25th.
Yeah, in the entire country.
Which is amazing. They've really, since I started my time here at LaSalle, they've really been on the come up. I've been seeing so much more improvement over the last few years. It's been great, and I feel so happy for them that they are making it up the totem pole.
Exactly. And then with men's tennis taking on Fordham, that's a really big thing for them because if they win, they can go to the 3rd seed Richmond. So they're also doing really well moving up on the totem pole. So it's going to be exciting to see how they go up against each other.
I'm really excited to watch it. I'm excited to see what's going to be happening. There's a lot of good things.
Oh yeah, because since so many seasons have been winding down, it's still great to see that, men's tennis and water polo are still going strong, still getting honors. So it's really great to see, and we'll see how everything turns out.
And that's it for the top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. Women's water polo began their final week of the regular season with a forfeited victory against number 23 Marist. This would leave their legs well rested for a back-to-back against LIU and Villanova, needing at least one win for the playoff berth. Against LIU, LaSalle leads early, but the Sharks bit back a 1-goal lead in the second, outscoring the blue and gold 5-2 in the second. After LaSalle cut the deficit to 1, they could not net the go-ahead strike, losing a thriller 12-11. The blue and gold could not sulk in the floss as they had to face off against Villanova for a ticket to the dance. After leading 4-2 in the second, the Wildcats put in their own 4 to the 2-run to tie it at 6, leading into the locker room. The Explorers lead by Sarah DeFusco and Madison Martinez, totaling 8 goals combined. LaSalle secured their victory to reach the semifinals of the MAAC for the first time in the program history. This victory also marked the first sweep of Villanova in program history. The Explorers will be facing against Marist once again for their semifinal matchup.
Baseball kicked off a 4-game series against St. Bonaventure on Friday, but quickly found themselves down by 2 after the Bonnies hit a 2-run homer in the top of the first. The Explorers pulled within 1 on a run from senior Jack Cuccinata and went on to gain the lead after junior Tatum Levins drove in 2 runs before scoring a run of his own on a single from sophomore Elijah Dickerson. Junior Nick O'Day made it 5 for LaSalle on his first home run of the season, and the Explorers added 3 more runs later in the inning. An excellent stretch on the mound from senior Colin Scanlon secured LaSalle's 10-2 victory. Saturday saw a doubleheader against the Bonnies, where again the blue and gold found themselves down early in the game. The Bonnies scored an unearned run in the top of the second, but the Explorers quickly answered back after Nick O'Day hit a leadoff triple and was subsequently scored on a sacrifice fly from Will Binder. It was a pitcher's duel from then on, but Frank Ellisalt held his own over the course of 6 innings, recording 5 strikeouts. Nick O'Day showed up once again, hitting an RBI double and scoring a run himself on a wild pitch, helping the Explorers take away a 3-1 win. The second game of the doubleheader wouldn't go the Explorers' way, as the Bonnies went up by 2 in the first inning, but LaSalle couldn't get the bats going, ending in a 2-0 loss.
The blue and gold didn't let the loss get them, starting off strong in the final game of the series on Sunday. A sacrifice fry from Ryan Guckin scored Jack Cuccinata, while Nick DiPietro and Nick O'Day scored to put the Explorers up 3-0 after the first inning. The offense stayed hot in the fourth, but Will Binder lining a 2-run double to the center, while Nick O'Day stole home plate during a double steal. Senior Tommy Toll would then score a Binder, putting the Explorers up 7-1. DiPietro would cross home plate on an RBI groundout from the Will Binder. And thanks to 7 strikeout appearances from sophomore Gabe Rappa, the Explorers would be back to win in the column with a 8-2 triumph. It was then off to Maryland for a game against Towson, where the dominance continued. The Explorers pulled ahead early after Binder was hit by a pitch with the loaded bases. A sophomore, Connor Coulihan, knocked in 2-run singles to put up 3-0. Cuccinata would then swing at first pitch for a casual 3-run home run to make the score 6-0. Tatum Levins would collect a home run of his own, another 3-run bomb to make it 9-0. Towson would slowly catch up to the Explorers, and the score would be 9-7 going into the 7th. Levins would go yarding again with another 3-run homer to make it 12-7. Runs by Nick DiPietro and Tommy Toll made it 14-7, and despite chipping away at LaSalle's lead, insurance runs from Levins and Dickerson would then end the contest with a final score of 16-11 in the Explorers' favor.
The women's lacrosse team ended their season on a positive note by beating Duquesne on Senior Day. The seniors accounted for 16 of the 20 goals scored against the Dukes. Senior Bridget Ruski led the Explorers with 6 goals, followed by classmate Anina Lakabuchi with 4. Duquesne opened up the scoring first, but were quickly answered back with a pair of goals from Lakabuchi and sophomore Maddie McKee. The Dukes came back and gained a 2-goal advantage. The tables turned when grad student Gabby Burton found the back of the net to begin a home side swing. LaSalle controlled the remainder of the first half after going on a 7-2 run, heading into the intermission in the lead 11-8. The second half of the match involved a heavy back and forth scoring on both sides, with LaSalle being able to hold a small lead for the majority. Grad student Mickey Raymond found the back of the net and kick-started the next scoring run for LaSalle as the team sealed the deal, claiming 6 of the 7 remaining goals. The season-ending dub ended with a score of 20-14.
LaSalle's track team competed in the Philadelphia Metropolitan Invitational, and senior Dennis Meunier and LaSalle's standout competitor, Meunier, took first place in the high jump competition, where he scored a 2.12 meters jump, which is good for the second highest jump of the season. This 212 meters jump was also the second win at Franklin Field this year. He previously won the same competition during the Big 5 meet. Junior Matthew Bridger placed 9th in the 5,000 meters, and LaSalle also placed 3rd in the spring relay, finishing a time of 3 minutes 44 seconds. For the women, sophomore Olabisi Adams finished 3rd in the long jump with 5.4 meter jump in the 4x800 relay. The Explorers finished 2nd. A team of Allen, Primas, Smith, and Adams also took 2nd in the 4x100 meter relay.
Women's golf traveled to Orlando, Florida for the final match of the year at the MAAC Championship. After day 1, freshman Hannah Bassler and junior Grace Hickey were tied for 27th after both shooting 10 over. Hickey's second day of the tournament was just as good as the first, as she only added 2 strokes to her total score. Hickey finished the tournament leading the pack for the blue and gold, as she concluded her play with the 31st best score of 27 over. Bassler finished just 8 places behind her, with freshmen Megan Ruffing and Kaylee Zerman tied for 40th, and Libby Gillen took 44th.
The men's tennis team faced off against Millersville on Friday, where they could not hold on to their early lead. The Explorers were able to claim the doubles point courtesy of number 3 team, consisting of sophomore Brandon Chavin and freshman Dylan Toll. The duo won by an emphatic 6-0 score. The match was followed by a victory by the number 2 of junior Nassim Fenhiro and senior Colin Lucius to gain a point for LaSalle. However, the lead snubbed by the Marauders after they won 4 straight sets. After they won sets at number 4 before 3 matches went to a decisive 3rd set and the breaker. Unfortunately, the blue and gold could not come through with a win point, as Millersville claimed the final 3 matches to take home the win. The team then closed out the regular season against A10's rivals, St. Joe's, and the duo of Lucius and Ferreiro claimed a doubles win at number 2, but were outshined by the Hawks in number 1 and 3 to gain the lead. The Explorers ended the match dropping a 6-1 decision against the Hawks, but were fortunately able to bring home singles victory at number 4 by Lucius.
So we have a lot to talk about. I want to start off with women's lacrosse. They ended their season on an amazing note, 20-14 against Duquesne, and we see Bridget Ruski, Anina Lakabuchi with the goals, and so many other people scored too. But to see the seniors really go out with a bang, go out on a really positive note, that's just amazing to see for the lacrosse team.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like I hear those names pretty often when it comes to lacrosse. I mean, they've had also a phenomenal season. I think as a whole group, they did really well. I really think that their team mentality was really there this year. I personally enjoyed watching them throughout the whole season. I mean, even though everything was just like one on top of the other, they were constantly going, but they never seemed to let any of the defeats let them down.
Exactly, and they have such great team chemistry. You hear them cheering each other on the sidelines. They're always supporting each other. They fight to the very final minutes of the game, so it's really great to see them get that victory, and a really big victory against a school like Duquesne. So it's really nice to see them do well. Women's golf also did well in Orlando at the MAAC Championships. it's so amazing to see that, golf isn't really something, a sport that we talk about a lot on here, but to see them still do so well and see them just all come in very close to each other, but, have their second day be better than their first just goes to show that they're always working to get better and they're always looking to improve.
I love to hear Grace Hickey's name on here. I mean, shout out to her for doing even well. I love hearing about golf as well because it's not something that I guess, like you said, we don't really talk about as often, but it's nice that they did really well. They were in Florida. They were having a great time, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Enjoying the sun, getting some golf in. I mean, hey, like, what better can that get? And to do well, too, even better.
I know we also want to shout out Libby Gillen because she does write for us sometimes, so we're really happy that she did well, too. Then, of course, we have to talk about baseball. They're on a tear so far. I mean, it seems like every time they play a game, they're winning. They had the one loss against the Bonnies, did not let it keep them down. Tatum Levins, Jack Cuccinata, Frank Elisol, we hear those names time and time again, but it's for good reason. Tatum Levins with 2 3-run home runs in the same game. I mean, this guy cannot be stopped. He's on fire.
I swear, and he had one game where he literally won, he hit a home run and won almost the whole game for them. I mean, that was unbelievable. It's nice to see that they're also another team that is coming together, pushing through it, getting to the end, and keeping themselves on top.
I know, and even in addition to the wins, they're also breaking program records. Ryan Guckin has broken records, Tatum Levins has broken records. They're moving up in the all-time list, so that's amazing for them too. Track and field, obviously, we always love to talk about them because they always do so well. Manier has been amazing with the high jump. I mean, he's always coming in really good standings. He always seems to jump higher and higher every time we talk about it.
Every time.
Don't know how he does it, but it's really amazing to see that. In the relays, the women's team always does well too. So track and field just doing what they do.
They're also
amazing as always.
They're always I think I always hear something good about that program, and they're continuously doing better, being better, and also coming together as a group.
Exactly. And then men's tennis also, and not the most ideal weekend for them, but they're going up against Fordham. They have a chance to redeem themselves there. And it goes to show that with LaSalle teams, you can never count them out completely. One bad game, one bad stretch of games is never going to keep them down. It never means that they're going to be counted out of their next competition because we see them practicing and everything on fields. You can just walk by and see them always going hard, always working hard. So I think even though men's tennis didn't do as well as they might have wanted to, they can still come back against Fordham.
For sure. Happy to see it.
But that's it for recaps. And when we come back, I sat down with shortstop Connor Coolahan to bring you all the inside details on baseball season right now. Stay tuned.
Exposure to blue light can mess with your sleep and memory cycle, so make sure you limit your screen time at least 2 hours before you go to bed.
Welcome back. In case you didn't hear us before, we're joined with Connor Coolahan for this week's On the Sidelines interview. Check it out.
I'm Siobhan Nolan. Welcome back to On the Sidelines. I'm joined by baseball shortstop Connor Coolahan. So we obviously don't really need to harp on how well you guys have been doing this season. The numbers really speak for themselves. So what has the atmosphere been in the team like recently?
As a team, we're just really excited to be able to play this season because COVID ruined our season last year. And then with being cut, we just want to show the school what we can do.
And you're at shortstop, arguably the hardest position in baseball. So you definitely make it look easy. You've made a lot of great plays, but what is it like in playing with the infield and the other players that you've been surrounded by?
With being a shortstop, you just have to be very vocal. And having Will Binder right next to me, he's made it look easy too. And having either Tommy Toll or Alphonso Dalla, they're two well players, and they made it look really easy. Playing with all them, it's just been really fun, and chemistry's all there. So they've made my job easier.
And like you said before, your freshman season got cut, unfortunately. There was some real chaos and uncertainty surrounding this upcoming season. So how did you find the motivation and the drive to just continue doing well and be the best player you could be?
I would say at first it was tough hearing the news that our program was cut. But then after you look past that, we all talked as a team, and we just knew that we wanted to be the best we can be to show the school that we should be here still.
And you've made some real highlight plays at shortstop this season. Is there any one that kind of stands out as your favorite so far?
Not really. I would say they're all pretty amazing, and I mean, not really one stands out. They all kind of stand out to me.
And there's really no denying that this team has really great chemistry. You guys show out and support each other at every given opportunity. So what does having a bond like that do to put you at an advantage over other teams that you play?
It makes it a lot easier knowing that none of your teammates are going to be selfish, or if you do something bad, that they won't look at you in another way. Instead, they will encourage you and pick you up. So it makes playing a lot less stressful.
And you've had an unbelievably packed schedule this season. It's just one game after another for you guys. There's still plenty more baseball left for you to play. So just how are you keeping your head on straight through all of the craziness?
Yeah, it's been tough with all the games. There's not been much rest, but all we can do is just keep pushing forward and making sure on days we don't have games that we're just getting enough rest and keeping our bodies right.
And we know that the team has a whole mission and a purpose this season. But for you as an individual, what are you hoping to get out of this season?
I'm just hoping to play with my teammates, and hopefully we can make a run in the A10, and not really focusing on what's going to happen next year, just focusing on what's going to happen now.
And as a player and just as a person in general, how have you grown in this past year with everything that's happened?
I've grown a lot. I'd say I've been a lot more mature about things, and I've had to look for the future more now, and it's just cleared my mind, and I just focus on what's going to happen now and how that's going to affect my future.
And like you were saying before, in your infield, you have Will Binder, you have Tommy Toll, Alphonso Dalla, but are there any other individual players in the team that you kind of want to shout out or highlight?
Not one single person individually, but just shouting out the whole team. I mean, even the players that aren't playing, the kids on the bench, they give great energy, and it helps us in the field to focus.
And for the final question, I'm sure everyone wants to know, there's no doubting that you probably have the best hair in the baseball team and probably all of LaSalle athletics. It's just, how do you keep it looking so good all the time? Like, what's the secret?
I don't really know. This is probably one of the first times I've grown it this long, so I don't have any real secrets. I just kind of let it do whatever it does.
Just looks that way naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I will send it back to the desk.
That just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We welcome you to send us thoughts and suggestions there. In this week's poll, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Personally, I think it does.
I think so too.
Yeah, people make such a big deal out of that. But for Isaiah and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Michaela Brandt. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.